From icons to unicorns, here's my top 10 part 2. Welcome back to my personal flashback of vintage watches from the past year. And if you thought the first 10 were good, you haven't seen anything yet. The next 10 are just as rare, just as full of character, and every single one has a story worth telling. From bold designs to quiet masterpieces. This is the second half of the watches that defined my year. Let's get right into it. Some watches define an era. This Vacheron Constantin from the 1940s, with its oversized teardrop lugs and perfectly balanced subsecond style, is a time capsule of mid-century elegance at its boldest. The case is 18K rose gold, measuring 36 mm wide, 44 mm lug to lug, and only 8.5 mm thickness. But the real standout? Those jumbo teardrop lugs. They are sculptural, expressive, and turn this otherwise restrained dress watch into a piece of wearable design. It is refined with presence, and at 45 grams, it feels substantial without overstepping. The dial is original and untouched. White with a crisp minute track, large 12 numeral, and warm rose gold markers in the green hands. There's light patina near the center and in the upper right quadrant. And the original crystal has some faint micro scratches. But honestly, it wears those decades well. They only add to its character. Watches like this weren't made in large numbers. And they were never about showing off. They were about getting everything just right. And here, Vacheron did exactly that. It was sold for 13,900 euros. And straight to the next one. Vintage Omega dress watches are all about restraint. But this one, it goes big without losing any of the charm. The reference 2482 from 1944 is a true jumbo by mid-century standards, with a case that stretches 37.5 mm across, 47 mm lug to lug, 19 mm between the lugs, and just 9.5 mm thick. Slim on the wrist, but visually commanding, especially thanks to those large downturned lugs that give it a sculptural edge. The case is crafted from solid 18K rose gold with a snap-on case back and soft, elegant curves throughout. It's in excellent condition with only minimal traces of wear and weighs in at 42 grams. Light, but luxurious. The untouched dial is what seals it. A flawless champagne-colored two-tone layout with a subtle sunburst texture and perfect proportions. Rose gold applied indices, a subsidiary second at 6, and long, narrow rose gold hands. Every detail feels intentional. The applied Omega logo completes the dial with just the right level of presence. We sold this one for 3,900 euros. There's no flash here, just balance, beauty, and unusually generous case size for the period. This is vintage Omega for those who love proportions and know how rare this size in this condition is. Number 13 is another Patek Philippe golden ellipse like in our first video. But not just any ellipse. This is a reference 3648/1 from the 1970s, and it's about as pure and elegant as the model gets. When the golden ellipse debuted in 1968, Patek didn't just make a new watch, they broke the mold. The case was neither round nor rectangular, but something in between, proportionate so perfectly that collectors still call it the golden ratio. And here, that design meets one of the most beautiful dials and bracelets I've ever seen. A flawless blue Sigma sunburst. It's untouched, original, and the way it catches the light is almost hypnotic. The case is solid 18K yellow gold, just 27 mm across, 32 mm from lug to lug, and only 5.5 mm thick. Slim, refined, and in outstanding condition. Inside is the Patek's hand-wound caliber 23-300, a movement as precise and elegant as the watch itself. And then there's the bracelet. Yeah, you can say the star of this piece, a woven mesh or something like a chain of 18K yellow gold, made by master goldsmith Jean-Pierre Ecouffet. It's integrated seamlessly into the case, drapes like fabric, and weights in with the watch at a solid 84 grams of gold. It was sold for 30,900 euros. Number 14 takes us straight back to the 1940s and to one of the most elegant chronographs of its era. I mean, just look at this. It's just perfection. This is a Universal Geneve Uni-Compax, reference 12482 in jumbo size and 18K yellow gold. The case, made by Spillman, measures a full 38 mm across, large for the time, with round pushers and proportions that are balanced to perfection. And it is in unbelievable museum-level condition. We are talking no traces of use, like it's been waiting 80 years for its moment on the wrist. The dial is untouched, a beautiful silver white with flawless printing and evenly aged lume on both the hands and hour markers. Everything is original, from the leaf-shaped hands to the sign crown, and the whole thing just radiates understated confidence. Inside is the legendary universal caliber 285, a manual wind movement with 17 jewels, running at 18,000 beats per hour and offering a 42-hour power reserve. At 53 grams, it's light for its size, but that only adds to the comfort. Paired here with a simple black leather strap, the watch speaks entirely for itself. No flash, no gimmicks, just pure 1940s chronograph design, preserved in a way that feels almost impossible today. It changed hands for 15,900 euros. Number 15 is an icon, but in a form you don't see it every day. This is a Patek Philippe Nautilus, reference 3800/1JA, in the mid-size version of one of the most famous watch designers of all time. Introduced as more compact alternative to the original 3700, it still carries all the DNA Gerald envisioned it, just in a more variable 30.7 mm case. This example is special for a few reasons. First, the metal, a rare two-tone combination of stainless steel and 18K yellow gold. It strikes the perfect balance between sportiness and sophistication, the kind of watch you could wear with a suit or a polo shirt. The case is unpolished, in great shape, with only light signs of use. The dial is untouched, an anthracite Nautilus Sigma dial with those famous horizontal ribs, flawless and evenly aged lume on both hands and markers. The bracelet is the original integrated two-tone design. Total weight 104 grams, and it wears as comfortably as you would expect from a Nautilus. And then the detail that makes collectors smile. This watch comes as a full set, original certificate from May 1990, original Patek Philippe box, and provenience from its first and only owner. This isn't just a Nautilus, it's a time capsule from the golden age of this design. We sold it for 42,500 euros. Number 16 might just be one of the most unusual Vacheron Constantins we ever handled. And that says something. This is a reference 7186 from the 1970s, and it's unlikely any other Vacheron I've seen. Everything about it is integrated, not just in construction, but in design. The case and bracelet are both crafted from 18K yellow gold, with the bracelet formed in a soft woven basket pattern that feels like fabric against the skin. It flows seamlessly into the case, so when you wear it, it's almost like the whole watch is a single continuous piece of gold. The dial carries the same design language, 18K gold with a framed Onyx border, the applied Maltese cross logo, original alpha hands, and the Vacheron Constantin typography. It is untouched, flawless, and the contrast between the deep black onyx and the warm gold is nothing short of striking. At 20.5 mm wide, 26 mm lug to lug, just 4.8 mm thick, and weighing 76 grams, it is slim, elegant, and pure 1970s high jewelry watchmaking. The bracelet fits up to 20 cm wrist, with a little adjustment at the clasp and closes with the original Vacheron Constantin gold buckle. This isn't just a dress watch, it is wearable art, and one of the most original Vacherons to leave the factory in that golden decade. It was sold for 20,900 euros. Number 17 takes us to one of the most important Omega dress watches ever made, the Constellation DeLuxe. First introduced in 1952 as Omega's answer to the Rolex Datejust, the Constellation quickly became the brand's flagship for precision, style and chronometer-grade performance. This example from 1954 is pure mid-century refinement. The 35mm case is solid 18K yellow gold made by Antoine Gerlach SA, with gently downturned lugs and a snap-on back. At 44mm lug to lug, 18mm between the lugs and 10.7mm thick, it's perfectly proportioned, elegant without being fragile. The condition is excellent, with only the lightest traces of wear. The dial is an untouched golden pipe hand shimmering under the light, with applied arrowhead hour markers and the original Dauphine hands. The applied Omega logo sits proudly at 12. The watch retains its original signed crown and even the original crystal, complete with a tiny Omega logo attached at the center. Inside is a caliber 354, an automatic chronometer with the charming bumper rotor system. It has 17 jewels, runs at 19,800 beats per hour and offers a 42-hour power reserve. Weighing 48 grams, it sits comfortably on the wrist, delivering that understated Constellation elegance that never goes out of style. This one was sold for 6,600 euros. And for a watch this pure, that's a price to smile about. Number 18 is a lesson in refined 1950s watchmaking, and also a rare one. This is a Vacheron Constantin reference 4711, a beautifully preserved dress watch in a solid 18K yellow gold with one of the most charming guilloche dials I've ever seen. The case, made by C. Markowski, measures 36mm across, 44mm lug to lug, 18mm between the lugs and just 9.5mm thick. It's slim, elegant and in excellent condition, showing almost no signs of use despite its 7 decades of life. The dial is original and untouched, a silver cream guilloche pattern with a distinctive 3-9-12 numeral layout, sub-seconds at 6 and golden diamond shaped markers in between. The yellow gold minute track frames the design perfectly, and the original hands and crown complete the authentic mid-century look. There's some light aging on the dial, but nothing that distracts from its beauty. If anything, it adds to the vintage charm. Inside beats Vacheron's caliber 453/3B, a manual wind movement with 17 jewels, 18,000 beats per hour and a 46-hour power reserve. Weighing 48 grams, this watch wears light but leaves a strong impression. It's sophisticated, balanced and effortlessly elegant. A reminder of why Vacheron Constantin has always been at the very top of Geneva's watchmaking. This one sold for 12,900 euros. And frankly, it's worth every cent just to look at the dial in the right light. Number 19 is not your typical Patek Philippe. This is a reference 4183, a rare Art Deco inspired square case design from the 1970s. And it's a reminder that Patek's creativity wasn't limited to Calatravas and Nautilus models. The case is sharp, perfectly proportionate 25mm square in a solid 18K yellow gold case, with crisp lines and just the faintest signs of wear. The look is instantly elevated by the original blue Sigma dial. A rich sunburst tone with an elliptical inner frame giving it real depth. There's a touch of patina along the edges, but it only adds to the vintage charm. But what really steals the show here is the bracelet. A fully integrated, finely woven mesh of 18K yellow gold, at 3.4mm thick and weighing in with the watch at 81 grams. It is much as a piece of goldsmithing artistry as it is a strap. It drapes naturally over the wrist, fitting up to 18.5 cm with slight adjustment at the clasp. This is not the Patek you see in every dealer's window. It is rare, architecturally unique and genuinely different. A bold design statement from a brand known for quiet elegance. It sold for 11,900 euros. And every time I see it in the photos, I think, this one has stayed in my personal collection. And finally, number 20. It is minimalism at its most luxurious. This is a Vacheron Constantin reference 277P from the 1970s. A watch that's all about proportion, material and texture. The case is a sharp stepped rectangular design in solid 18K yellow gold, measuring 29 mm across, 38 mm lug to lug and just 6.4 mm thick. It's in excellent condition with almost no signs of wear, and the geometry is pure 1970s Vacheron. Precise, architectural and confident. The dial is what truly sets it apart. A flawless piece of deep black onyx, untouched and perfectly smooth. No markers, no clutter, just the white Vacheron Constantin signature at 12 and a pair of golden Dauphine hands cutting cleanly through the darkness. The contrast is striking, and on the wrist it has a presence that's both understated and impossible to ignore. This is a kind of a watch you don't see often. Not because they didn't make many, but because the few that exist almost never leave private collections. This one did, and it sold for 17,900 euros. And that wraps up the second half of my top 20 watches from the past year. 20 pieces in total, each one with its own story, its own character, and its own way of reminding me why I love doing this. From the quiet elegance of a 1940s chronograph to the bold geometry of 1970s design. From heavy-hitting icons to rare overlooked gems. These weren't just watches we sold. They were moments, memories, and for a brief time, part of our lives. If you missed part 1, go check it out and let me know which watch from this series spoke to you the most.